Okay. Open her up tonight's meeting. Wendy, can you do a meeting now?
The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Sparta Board of Education has caused notice of the time and place of this meeting to be published in the New Jersey Herald, the Star Ledger, tapintosparta.net, and notice of the meeting has been posted on the Sparta Township School District website.
Thank you. And can I get a roll call, please?
Ms. Collier.
Here.
Ms. Gagnon.
Present.
Ms. McMichael.
Here.
Mr. Paleshi. Ms. Sealander.
Here.
Ms. Serafino. Dr. Serrano.
Republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we're going to convene a closed session to hear personnel and legal matters. We'll be back up approximately 7 p.m. Can I get a motion to go to closed session? Motion. Thank you, Caitlin. Second?
Second.
All in favor? Welcome, everyone. Sorry we're late. Big business, big business. Okay, a roll call, Ann. Thank you.
Ms. Collier,
Here.
Ms. Gagnon,
Present.
Ms. McMichael,
Here.
Ms. Sealander,
Here.
Dr. Serrano,
Here.
Mr. Wood,
Here.
Mr. Morris.
Here. Right. All right, we're going to start this evening with a presentation from Mr. Benson, District HIB Self-Assessment.
And if I could just point out right now, this is Mr. Benson's last presentation with us. You see his resignation on tonight's agenda. I'd like to wish Mr. Benson the best. Thank Mr. Benson for all he has done. Mr. Benson's been with our district for a couple of years. He's served in a couple of different roles. He's done a lot for our students. He's done a lot for our district. He's done a lot to push the Culture and Climate Initiative. He was destined for bigger and better things, and he found a bigger and better thing. So we'd like to thank him and congratulate him before he goes ahead and does his last presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Beck.
So as Dr. Beck said, I am Shannon Benson, Director of Student Support Services, and part of my role as Director of Student Support Services, I serve as the District Harassment, Intimidation, and Bullying Coordinator. And this evening, I will be presenting our HIB self-assessment report, preliminary report, as required by our Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act. And so our HIB self-assessment is a yearly self-assessment that is conducted by each individual school's anti-bullying specialist, which is aligned with the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights Act. As you will see once we get into the actual categories, it focuses on 8 different categories that are broken down into subcategories that are rated on a scale of 0 to 3. Once again, once we get to the actual data, you will see that the indicators or sub-indicators are all centered around the processes, the procedures, staff, and initiatives as it pertains to our district harassment, intimidation, and bullying efforts. The categories are all really designed to help strengthen prevention and intervention of harassment, intimidation, and bullying, while also helping improve our overall culture and climate in each of our buildings. And so this is a preliminary report that was generated from all of our anti-bullying specialists. That information was submitted to the New Jersey Department of Education. And to go back, this is a New Jersey Department of Education requirement that has to be done yearly, of course. This is a preliminary report card which I'm doing this evening, has to be presented to the Board of Education with the hope of being approved this evening. From that point, what will happen is this preliminary report will be submitted to the New Jersey Department of Education, and at a later date, we will receive our official report card. And once that official report card is received, it will also be submitted to the Board of Education on the agenda for approval. In addition to, it will be provided on our district website for the community to view. And so to get into the data, I won't go through all of these specific numbers. However, there's a few pieces that I would like you to take notice of, and a few pieces that sticks out to me. And I think the first piece is the alignment across all of our buildings. Of course, this was an individual assessment that was done by each of our anti-bullying specialists. However, you can see that all our scores are identical. And so that is not by coincidence. That is something that's intentional. And the reason that's intentional is not that the numbers are being skewed, but it's more so it speaks to the collaboration that our anti-bullying specialists across each of our buildings have. And it really speaks to just their efforts to use best practices across all buildings to ensure that we're doing what's best as it pertains to our students in culture and climate. That's the first piece. I think the second piece being that, as you can see, the parentheses really shows you what the max scores are in each of these categories. The overall score for all of our buildings are 77 out of 78. So we only had 1 point that was taken away, and that was essentially for our HIB process approach, which that doesn't give you a lot of information, but the subcategory when we look at that, really provides you the information as to why we lost that 1 point, which I will talk more about in the next slide. But once again, these are all great scores, and I think, once again, this is a yearly report, and it really aligns with what we've looked like in previous years, which really just speaks to the programs and initiatives that we have within the district. And so, as we think about the areas of focus, some of the things that we're going to continue and some of the things that we're going to do a deeper dive with, I think the first piece is we will continue to identify patterns of preventative measures during our team meetings. And what that looks like, there are team meetings that happen amongst our anti-bullying specialists in each of our buildings, in addition to meetings with myself. And a lot of times what we're really focusing on is focusing on some of the trends that we're seeing across the district, and really focusing on efforts to put initiatives into place to focus on those gaps that we're seeing within our culture. In addition to that, we really see that there's a direct correlation between the building and district level culture and climate teams. And so a lot of conversations around the culture and climate teams, in addition to meeting with the HIP coordinators, is something that we will continue to collaborate and focus on. We will also continue our initiative with St. E's Culture and Climate Initiative, which, once again, as I said before, culture and climate and harassment, intimidation, and bullying really goes together hand in hand, because culture and climate is really a way that we can decrease the number of HIBs that we're seeing within the district. And as I said before, the one category, category one from this slide, as we see, we had a 14 out of 15. And this last bullet point really points out why we lost that point, which was a subcategory. And essentially, we needed to do a deeper dive to really focus on the effectiveness of our programs and, of course, comparing the effectiveness to the intended goals. And that's something that we will continue to do throughout the course of the year to just ensure that the incentives or the initiatives that we're putting in place are really reaching its intended goals. And so the goal, of course, going into next year, it's not just about the numbers, but, of course, if we see that one of our gaps is just, thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any? Wasn't coming on. Does anyone have any questions before he leaves? So close, I couldn't get my mic on. No questions? All right, perfect. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, student representative report.
Okay, so from our homecoming, we did make a significant amount of money, which we are hoping to plan a school-wide event for the entire student body, maybe a Ferris wheel for Delucia. We are planning a district-wide food drive for the Sparta Pantry. VFW, the student council, is volunteering to help them get their Christmas trees out of the trucks and set those up for them. We have an upcoming college fair on Thursday, October 24th from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. at the high school. And we have a talent show sponsored by the senior class, performance date set for January 8th.
There was a senior parking raffle, and it will be announced tomorrow during the morning scoop video. Find the Courage Club went to a leadership summit at Sussex Tech today, and DECA went to a COLT conference at Kean University today, and the ski team swap will be on November 9th from 8:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., and drop off for sellers on November 8th from 5 to 8 p.m.
Thank you. And can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
Motion?
Thank you. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Oh.
I abstain as well.
too. Yes, I abstain too.
Dr. Beck?
Thank you. My report is short this evening. It's a quick turnaround between meetings, and you're probably still recovering from my long presentations from last month, so I'll keep it short. First, I'd like to acknowledge the lone retirement on this evening's agenda. Ms. Andrea Santora is retiring. She is the music teacher, orchestra teacher at Sparta Middle School, and she has served our district for 20 years. So congratulations and best wishes to her. On this evening's agenda, you will find my recommendation of Ms. Barbara Decker for the School Business Administrator Board Secretary position. There were 8 applicants for this position, and a committee of central office administrators interviewed those candidates that were qualified and certified. Ms. Decker currently serves as our Assistant Business Administrator, and her experience as a business administrator and experience in our district set her apart from the other candidates. She brings 15 years of business office experience and has experience working with large district budgets. Ms. Decker will be taking over for Ms. Black on January 1st, 2025. And last, just another cell phone policy update. I had the opportunity to speak to some students, teachers, and administrators recently to check in on the cell phone policy implementation. I'm happy to report that all feedback continues to be positive. One teacher even stated that this has been the best thing we have done for their classroom. And that's the report.
Thank you. Okay. Can I get a motion to move the HIB report, please?
Motion.
Thanks, McKinn. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Ann?
Ms. Collier,
Yes.
Ms. Gagnon.
Yes.
Ms. McMichael,
Yes.
Ms. Sealander,
Yes.
Dr. Serrano,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Morris.
Yes. Any communications? Anything on your end, Ann? Delegate liaison reports.
I have one for the town council. So last Thursday, Dr. Beck, Kurt, and I met with our town council representatives to discuss a few items. The main area we discussed involved grant research and potential collaboration with the township. The township has successfully worked with a grant research firm for many years, I think we found out 10, and highly recommended we get in touch. Kurt had also recommended this firm because of his work with them in the past through the Sparta PD. We also discussed our proposed referendum. The township highlighted the positive collaboration that's taking place with our DPW on various district projects at a reduced rate, which is great for the community in terms of cost. So thanks to our town council liaisons for taking the time to meet with us. Ms. Rossi, Ms. Decker, Kurt, and I then met yesterday with the grant research firm that was recommended. It was another productive and successful meeting. We will be sharing what we've learned about the firm with the rest of the board and hope to have an update to provide to the public during the November meeting. This effort is in alignment with our newly set board goals and will hopefully open the door for us to explore supplemental funding opportunities for the district in the near future.
Thank you, Caitlin. Any other?
Just a quick update regarding our solar. We passed all inspections, so we are now officially online with our solar for both the Sparta High School and the Sparta Middle School. And this was a longstanding project, so the Finance Committee is really excited to see that completed. And we're looking forward to working with Ms. Decker starting in January, and glad to see someone coming up from our district. I had the opportunity to join in on the Garden State Coalition of Schools October meeting, and that was with Joel Moore of the Education Commission of the States. And they actually offer free policy review and research and things that I had actually never heard of. A lot of good research and trends, and interestingly enough, we're really doing a lot of the same things, nationally that people are looking at and within the Mid-Atlantic region by cell phone policy, looking at chronic absenteeism, but it's a good resource to us, so I'll send an email with a couple screenshots of the presentation I received. You might see the full presentation come through from Garden State Coalition, but I thought they might be a helpful and free resource for us to use. They also offer a 72-hour turnaround time, which is pretty impressive as well. So that's all I have.
Thank you. The Ideas Committee met this month. During that meeting, we discussed, as Dr. Bex mentioned, the cell phone policy, the progress, and where we're going with it, mainly surrounding the middle school, touched on the high school a little bit. Nothing but positive feedback. Even when it's time where the students can use their cell phone in the high school, they're seeing they're not even using them anymore. So I think it's a good thing moving forward, and hopefully continues that way. I'm sure the proud president of the SCA will touch on this. She brought in this idea of, I'll say teacher for a day. She has another saying for Day of Discovery. It's
educator
where non-teachers will come in, meet with a teacher, go over lesson plans, and teach the class for the day, just to give an outside perspective of what they do in there. I requested to be the media specialist for the day, so we'll see how that goes. But, yeah, so all good things moving forward. And great collaboration.
Oh, one more thing. Speaking of collaboration, the tech plan committee also met, so, and I was pleased to be able to sit in as a board member on that, and we were looking at the results of the tech audit and all the work that the tech committee has done in coordination with Dr. Beck and Mr. Rivers and everyone from our IT team, and I thank them for all their work on creating, so it's everyone, on the District Technology Committee and creating a comprehensive plan and goals. And the hope is to present those after getting other stakeholder feedback and having a little bit of the voice of the community in there and our students, our goals for just overall technology for the next, coming years. So we hope to present that before the end of the year.
Thank you.
I have a couple updates from the Sparta Education Foundation. They wanted to announce that the readathon this year was a huge success. They want to thank the students, parents, and community members who made it possible by getting involved and getting the children involved. They raised vital funds that are going to go directly back into the school. So huge success. I'm assuming they're going to look at doing it again. The other update is the giving pump on the shell on Sparta Ave is, you can see it, it's like wrapped in purple. It says, I think it says Sparta SEF. That through October 31st, a portion of every sale goes back to Sparta, so if you have to get gas, stop there. And then the last one, Turkey Trot, as you know, Thanksgiving Day, registrations are still open, still looking for volunteers. If you want a sign for your yard, you can get a sign. For signing up for the race, it's through Run Sign Up. You can search Crow's annual Turkey Trot, so obviously that's happening on Thanksgiving Day. You still have some time, so make sure you come out. It's a great morning. It's a fun morning. A lot of people are there. You can run it. You can walk it. It's just a great way to get out in the morning before you sit on the couch all afternoon. So check it out.
Speak for yourself, okay? I run it twice. Okay, anyone have anything else? Move on. Okay. Going to public comment number 1. Public comments are invited on matters pertaining only to action items at this time. Please state the action item number, as well as your name, municipality, and group affiliation, if appropriate, for the record. Each participant will be given 3 minutes to speak. Once you have had your allotted 3 minutes to speak, you will not be permitted to speak again until public comment number 2. All statements should be directed to me as presiding officer. The board or administration may or may not respond to any questions, comments after the conclusion of public participation. Motion to close participation number 1. Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion to move item number 15, personnel and policy?
Motion?
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Thank you. Discussion.
I would like to once again recognize that we've got some staff moving across the salary guide and obtaining higher education. And this month, it looks like we've got William Brennan, who has achieved his master's degree. So I'd like to extend my congratulations on behalf of the board.
Thank you, Lee. No more discussion? Roll call in?
Ms. Collier,
Yes.
Ms. Gagnon.
Yes.
Ms. McMichael,
Yes.
Ms. Sealander,
Yes.
Dr. Serrano,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Morris.
Yes. Can I get a motion to move item 16, curriculum?
Motion.
Thank you. Second?
Second?
Discussion? Okay, and for 16.1 to 16.6.
Ms. Collier,
Yes.
Ms. Gagnon.
Yes.
Ms. McMichael,
Yes.
Ms. Sealander,
Yes.
Dr. Serrano,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Morris.
Yes. Moving on to finance, item number 17. Can I get a motion to move 17.1 to 17.10?
Motion.
Thanks, Lauren. Second.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion?
I'd just like to draw attention to item 17.10, a donation from the Sparta High School class of 2024 for the, of $5,840.71 to the Fitness and Wellness Center at Sparta High School. We thank their class, and we hope they're all doing great in their future endeavors.
Thank you. Ann?
Ms. Collier,
Yes.
Ms. Gagnon.
Yes.
Ms. McMichael,
Yes.
Ms. Sealander,
Yes.
Dr. Serrano,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Morris.
Yes. Could I get a motion to move item 18, 18.1 to 18.4, operations?
Motion.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, Chad. Discussion. Ann? Roll call.
Ms. Collier,
Yes.
Ms. Gagnon.
Yes.
Ms. McMichael,
Yes.
Ms. Sealander,
Yes.
Dr. Serrano,
Yes.
Mr. Wood,
Yes.
Mr. Morris.
Yes. Does anybody have anything for old business? New business? Okay. We're now at public comment number 2. The board uses the second public comment period to invite comments on all matters pertaining to the school district. Please state your name, municipality, and group affiliation if appropriate for the record. Each participant will receive 3 minutes to speak. Once you have had your allotted 3 minutes to speak, you will not be permitted to speak again. All statements should be directed to me as presiding officer. The board administration may or may not respond to any questions or comments after the conclusion of public participation.
Before my 3 minutes starts, I'm going to talk about the Day of Discovery in November, just so you know.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay. You can start now. Good evening. My name is Angela DeLucia, and I am the very proud president of the Sparta Education Association and Sussex County Education Association. It is October 17th, and our members have been on a roll this month. Last week, across the district, we recognized the Week of Respect. Each school celebrated kindness and inclusivity in a variety of ways, from spirit days to activities that inspired students and staff alike. The SEA also collectively participated by rallying for respect. Our members stand up to bullying and know that our school community is one that always chooses kindness. This week is National Digital Citizenship Week, and the Sparta librarians are busy ensuring that all students have the resources to become responsible members of the digital world, checking sources for validity and accuracy, and being able to discern quality versus biased information is a life skill that will be beneficial well beyond graduation. And as we all know, our members are always doing something. But this month, Alpine Specials teachers really need to be recognized. Librarian Taryn Doremus worked with Sparta Books to bring New York Times bestselling author Chris Harris from Los Angeles for an assembly, and the kids absolutely loved it. Computer science teacher Christina Morrow was approved for an SEF grant to purchase iPads and robots for her classes. PE teachers from Alpine coordinated a fun run and added a teacher run where teachers raced in blow-up costumes around the grounds for the kids, and they had a blast. Art teacher Caitlin Connolly is adding character to the walls of Alpine, working on fun murals inside the building. And at Mohawk Avenue, students ran a mini marathon on October 11th. The students did an amazing job training and completing the course. PE teacher, Mr. Giannino, also led the students in a fun dance at the end. Parents were there to watch and enjoy. Students from MAS also took a field trip to Waterloo Village this week and learned about the indigenous people from our area. And Miss Ahern got married on September 28th, and now she is Mrs. Tobin. Finally, at Sparta High School, we want to extend a very warm congratulations to job coach and paraprofessional Lisa Elias, who worked so hard and earned her elementary teaching certification. We hope that that new certification allows her many new opportunities. And we have also officially unveiled our Little Free Library at the entrance of Sparta High School. So the availability of resources is now unlimited. And as I say every month, it is an honor to represent such a strong, dedicated, and invested group of educators and support professionals who are committed to providing outstanding instruction, unwavering support, and excellent resources for every Sparta student.
Time.
Stop, really?
I'm just telling you it's time. I mean,
But we're
it's what it
grateful for
is,
the
right?
partnerships.
Thank you.
Ironically.
And
Yeah.
we look forward to sharing more in November.
Yeah.
I'll sign in when I get done. Jenny Derrick, Step into Sparta. Just two quick questions. I don't even think this is on.
It's
How
on.
are we doing with the attendance, with the initiative to bring attendance numbers up? And how many hip specialists do we have? Mr. Benson referenced a committee. How many are on that committee? I'm going to switch hats. I'm also a part of the master plan subcommittee of the Sparta Planning Board. We launched a survey for the community. Any residents or businesses or people who have interest in Sparta are encouraged to take the survey. It's located, the QR and the link are located on the township website. And I was going to ask if there might be some way we could present that out to the district, the link out to the district to ask or encourage other families to participate in this survey for the adults, for the parents. And then also to ask about the demographic study that that you guys have already done. Maybe we could have a conversation about if we could have some of that information for the work that we're doing on the master plan subcommittee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
How you doing, guys? Mr. Morris, you weren't here last month, but I asked if they could, about IEPs, if we could have
Just, you're
the
just- I knew you
Daniel
got me,
Valley,
yeah.
45 Davis Road, Sparta, New
And I
Jersey.
watched the meeting too last month.
Okay, cool. So I wanted to see if there was any headway with that, if you guys had any ideas or what you guys came up with. And that's all.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'm Janelle Ledyard from Sparta. I emailed earlier this week about an idea for a nonprofit that I would like to bring to our district. In our old school district in Point Pleasant, they had something called Panthers Let's Eat, and I would love to create our own version here in Sparta called Spartans Let's Eat. They would fundraise throughout the year and provide grocery boxes and gift cards, specifically grocery gift cards, to families that qualified for free and reduced lunches during the year, but they would provide their services in the summer months. So once a week, they would do a distribution to all of the families that opted in to the program. And then they also did emergency assistance throughout the year. So if a teacher or a counselor or an administrator identified a family that was in need, they could confidentially reach out to the program. They could give emergency assistance. So maybe they need a Kohl's gift card because one kid needs basketball shoes that month because the father got laid off or the mother got laid off. So they can do this all anonymously and confidentially. A top priority of the program is confidentiality. So the school would send the letters out to all of the families that are enrolled or qualify for free and reduced lunches. And those families would have a code or a link with their own specific code that they would put into the website to enter them into the program. So that way the people in Spartans Let's Eat would never receive the full list of families that qualify for free and reduced lunches. They would only have the list of families that opt in to the program. And then once they have their list and they start distributing in the summer, only people like myself or a board, if we were to create a board, or people who do not have kids in K to 12 at the time could deliver to those families during the distributions. So that way no one has access to see who is receiving the donations, and only we would have, probably myself and maybe one other person would have the actual names of who is getting the donations. The only way we could probably do something like this is with a partnership with the boards. That's why I'm bringing it here to you guys. I think a less obvious benefit is that kids could have the opportunity to volunteer, which I think in theory, we all want to volunteer with our kids, but the opportunity to actually do that is hard. I know I look into opportunities and it sounds great, and then they say, well, you can't bring little kids or you can't have a group of kids come in. So this is something that allows kids to support other kids in their district, even if they don't know which kid, they know they're supporting someone that they go to school with. The founder of Panthers Let's Eat is amazing, and she has offered to help in any way. And their superintendent is a huge fan of it down in their district. So he's offered to speak to anyone who has any questions on like the administrative side of things, because they've been doing it now for quite a few years. And I can try to answer questions, but probably Kate, who started there, and their superintendent.
That's time.
Okay.
If there's anything else, you can email us. I'll
Okay, perfect.
move
Thank
forward.
you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Motion to close?
Motion?
Thank you. Second? Thank you. All in favor? Thanks.
I'll address those things. I'll start with the most recent and go backwards. Ms. Ledyard, do me a favor, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Send me an email, and we'll set up an appointment, come in and to talk to me and a small team. I'll get really some more information and see how this would be best implemented in our district. But I think that would be the next step, is to have a small meeting, and then I could push it out to administrators from there with more information. So just send me an email, we'll set up a meeting. No problem. Mr. O'Malley, ironically enough, when you brought that up last month, I had gone around the schools the following day, and the director of special services had caught my ear, and she said, hey, I saw Mr. O'Malley last night. We were actually starting to talk about that. So that's the update. I have more details that I can't really share right now because it's not in stone or anything like that, but they were actually talking about how to ease the transitions and how to maybe combine child study teams, not with the same amount of people, but to way to break them up differently to help the students with their transitions. Yeah, so we're working on something, Ms. Derricks, that last part about the master plan, you had a couple of requests there. It sounds like I could accommodate, so just email me those requests about the master plan. How many HIP specialists are there? There's one in each building, and then Mr. Benson being the coordinator, that brings it all together. And attendance, it's kind of early statistically to measure if there's been a lot of effect. There's some anecdotal things about parents sending kids to school more so now. But it's a little early for the data part of it, but I can tell you that we are implementing the plan. The data teams have been meeting, and just yesterday I approved a letter that at least the elementary principals want to collaborate on. It's a very personalized letter to students that are starting to really start to slip already, and it's based on the data. So the plan is in motion. The effect is still up in the air. It's kind of early.
Thank you. Moving on to good of the order. Does anybody have anything for good of the order?
I do. As Ms. DeLucia mentioned, there was the Mohawk Mini Marathon. I got the chance to attend it as a parent. But it's not too often that you find an educator who can successfully motivate and corral upwards of 200 or 300 third graders. And Mr. Giannino just did an outstanding job. Actually brought a tear to my eye to see the rapport that he had with the students. Some of the kids were struggling to get through the finish line, and he was high-fiving them. He had them break out into a dance at the end. It was just really heartwarming, and I'd like to just say that it's appreciated to see that.
It's sports news. It's HWS season, so if you have time to get out there and support the sports teams that are participating in HWS, it'd be greatly appreciated.
I have something brief. So first, I'd like to thank Ms. Ledyard because it sounds like a wonderful initiative, and obviously we'll need to discuss further, but I look forward to supporting in any capacity that I can. So thank you. These are the exact types of initiatives that we should be bringing to our district to help improve things like our culture and our climate, right in alignment with that. So thank you so much for bringing that to us. I'd also like to wish our retiring educators the very best in their future endeavors, especially Dr. Benson, who has served this district well. I wish him all the best in his next chapter, where I'm very sure he will be welcomed with open arms. Lastly, I do have something I'd like to briefly discuss. I would just like to remind this year's Board of Education candidates and our community that I'm not running for election this year. However, on a fairly regular basis, there are candidate statements that mention me by name, and oftentimes these articles contain concerning misinformation. I am an elected official, and with that role comes criticism, which I wholeheartedly welcome. I will never stifle a constituent's voice in expressing their concern with me, with this board, or any other matter. But I cannot in good faith tolerate misinformation about me. To clarify, no, I was not handpicked for this role by our SEA president, nor was I bought by the NJEA. I filed my petition last year in the 11th hour on the very day it was due, and the only people we can thank for that are my children. Further, to suggest any select member of this board is responsible for the audit that took place regarding our online curriculum subscriptions post-COVID is very misleading. Our district can thank Ms. Rossi, our assistant superintendent, for spearheading that process, and it troubles me to think that anyone would try to take credit for her efforts, which we as a collective entity did support. While there are several other claims that deserve correction, I think what's more important instead is to emphasize the fact that no matter who is elected, any power we have as a board is rooted in the board itself. Those elected will be expected to sit on this board as an entity of one, and the community will expect our future board to find solutions for Sparta together. If you choose to spend your campaign time or your general time focusing on me or perpetuating claims that are not rooted in fact, that is certainly your prerogative, and I will not be the one to stop you. But I do think our community would much rather hear about candidate platforms and the intentions for this district instead. No matter who is elected, you will be sitting up here beside me. We will be serving on this board together. So out of respect for this entity and for the sake of any potential future collaboration, I kindly ask that all candidates make sure any content you publish is factual, especially if it mentions me or any other board members or staff members by name. And I also encourage my fellow board members to ensure that we are in no way contributing to the perpetuation of misinformation. Given our next meeting will take place well into November, I encourage our community to vote, to engage our democracy in ways that so many people around this world do not have such privilege, and I wish everyone a very safe and successful election day. I look forward to welcoming the new board when the time comes.
Thank you, Caitlin. Anybody else? Chat.
Just to also touch on the teachers retiring, I personally never had Miss Santora, but losing a music professional and educator is always hard. And I know that a lot of students really, really enjoyed her class. And although she might have been a little hard, I hear that for the students who are really passionate about it, that they really loved it. And in terms of losing Dr. Benson, it's pretty sad. He was the first kind of stepping stone in my eyes in high school who really got us into climate and culture, and he was the spearheader of a lot of those meetings. So it's going to be really important to make sure that we continue the progress that he has left off for us in this district.
Thank you, Chair.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to Helen Morgan. I had the opportunity to attend in a parent capacity, of course, the hike that they planned, Mr. Lehman and the teachers planned hikes for the students in Sparta Glen. And I love to see the partnerships that they've cultivated between teachers that enjoy being, local historians, also with the Historical Society, to try to bring alive the stories of the past and let those students see it. And it was neat to see how many students had never been there to that gem in our own town and how many were excited to come back and seek the summit. And one of the coolest parts about it was, adults included, no one got out their cell phones, right? So completely disconnected, even though we wish we could help identify a leaf or things like that. It was so great to just see the kids enjoying nature, the quiet, the collaboration, and seeing them just really enjoy the challenge of hiking up a little bit of a rugged terrain. And they also got to take part in team building. And I just love to see the way that we can use our beautiful expanded campus of this town and the continued partnerships to make that happen. So thank you, Helen Morgan, administration, and teachers.
Thank you, Lauren. Anybody else? Okay. Okay, a motion to adjourn. Motion. Okay, thank you, Wendy. Second, Caitlin. All in favor?
Aye.